Every student is a winner. They just don't know it yet. Every student has something unique, something powerful, waiting to be discovered. All they need is the light by which to find it. Introducing EBB, Education Beyond Borders, a visionary program designed for students from grade 9 to 12 that believes that knowledge must be free to any willing mind. Whether you're striving to be the best or simply better than where you were, EBB will open your mind and show the way to your future. We're not just here to improve your marks, we're here to help you. Discover your strengths. Build clarity about your future. Gain confidence to speak, lead, and create, and find your voice in a noisy world. At EBB, we believe every student deserves the opportunity to shine, to grow, and to leave a mark on the future. Beyond tuition, beyond coaching, there is a space where learning and growth meets education beyond borders. Because the world needs more than just grades. It needs you.
Welcome to Education Beyond Borders. This is, I think, lecture number 4, I think. I may be wrong. It may be 3. We have students from Little Flower School in India joining in, and we have some students from Fairfax County also joining in. Everyone silence your phones or put it in airplane mode so that you could be undistracted. And so today we're going to talk about modes of knowing. Everyone spends a large portion of their life accumulating knowledge. And what I'm going to spend time today is not so much on what you acquire. Each one of you are expert in that. I don't need to teach you what you need to learn. I would like to talk about how you learn what you learn. Because how you learn what you learn determines not only the quality and scope of your learning, it determines how it will show up in your life and in the life of those you impact. So today's lecture is all about modes of knowing. And as you go into this, none of you are here to learn what you already know or what you already can do. Each one of you already are good at something or the other, and this is not why you are here. You're also not here to learn it faster or a better way than what you already know how to do it. While there may be improvements that you can get by learning things in a better way or a faster way, that is not what I'm really interested in. That is what I call fluff. You can easily acquire that without ever attending any of these lectures. What I am interested in is in discussing and helping people discover what they did not even know they did not know. See, it is one thing to not know something and to know that you are not knowing that. That kind of knowledge is actually knowledge. Knowing that you don't know is a form of knowledge. But when you don't even know that you don't know it, that is blindness. That is actually true ignorance. True ignorance is completely oblivious to its own existence. And that is what I am approaching today in all these lectures. So what you come here to do is to discover both vision and possibility for yourself. Because when you have these two things, vision and the possibility of discovery, then all things become possible. Now, how do we actually know anything? We all live life from childhood to old age, and we acquire information on a daily basis. It's a constant stream. And how do we know any of that how do we get to know that? If you start looking into the way in which, oops, why is the screen full? Okay. So what we have is how life comes to us is through experiences that we experience. And these experiences are mediated through our sense organs. When a butterfly lands on our finger, we are able to appreciate both the vibrant color of its wings as well as the touch on our finger. The contact informs us of the presence of an object, and the arrival of light photons into our eye give us both the shape of the object as well as the color in it. The same happens when we hear sound. We have air molecules that strike our eardrum and produce the vibrant beat of sound. And of course, there is a second element in this picture that you see of him actually enjoying and responding to the sound, but it is the sound that he is hearing, and that is your primary experience. The scent of a flower as the molecules drift up your nose, or the taste of ice cream on your tongue, all these produce the core sensations, the five sensations that constitute your real experience of the world around you. Now, once you get that real experience, what you do is you create some meaning out of it. You create a story, you create a name and a form, that you give it a name and give it a form. Otherwise, it is just experience. When you take, for example, an Alzheimer's patient who is unable to create meaning out of the sensations, they just sit there without any response to the experience of whatever they're experiencing. And when you get this name and form, you have a meaning-making machine in your head that creates the context, interprets it, gives it an assessment and a relative value for yourself. You create a like and a dislike, and out of that like and dislike, you create some perception as well as a sense of preference. Now, in this preference comes the various meanings that you get out that provide your lived experience of the world. So your lived experience is not really the light that comes from the butterfly, but the meaning that you give it. It is not the actual taste of the ice cream, but the meaning you give to that experience. It is not the sound that you hear, but the meaning you give to that sound. That is your lived experience. Now, in the terms of learning, for example, the meaning that you can give to certain experiences may allow you to learn better or learn more poorly. For example, how many of you believe that you are not good at math? Raise your hand. Now, Ariana, come off mic.
Yes.
Why do you think that you're not good at math? What is the meaning that you arrived at?
Because I find it complicated.
Okay, before you found it complicated, you found two numbers, right?
Yes.
And then the issue was you had to do something with those numbers. Was it a multiplication or some form of manipulation of those numbers, right?
Yes.
And you had trouble manipulating those numbers the way that you were asked to.
Yes.
And out of that trouble, you made a meaning for yourself.
That I'm not good at math.
But what were you actually not good at?
Manipulating the numbers?
Yes. So what is that skill? Is that skill of manipulating numbers, is that simply moving an object from one place to another? Like, is it something just like a learned skill?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So whereas the statement you are not good at something is not a learned skill, it is a description of who you are.
Yeah.
So do you see how the description prevents learning?
Yes.
So what if you actually considered that all you have is a difficulty in the learned skill of manipulating numbers?
I would think I'm good at math.
You may be, if you become good at manipulating it quickly or within certain time constraints, but it just means that you have more work to be done there. It has nothing to do with your capacity to become good at it.
Okay.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you see how stories change the way life comes to us?
Yeah.
That is what I'm trying to tell you. Your story determines how life shows up for you. Your story determines the possibilities of your life. So, whenever you have a story, ask yourself, is this story, how much of the story is actually the experience versus a construct? Let me go to the next slide and I'll talk to you about that. See, we have this entire universe around us, all the galaxies, the photons, the cosmic rays, the atmosphere, all of that. And then somewhere in that atmosphere is this globe in which we all are. And out of the globe, all the parts of the globe, the oceans, the mountains, the plains, the deserts, the valleys, the rivers, all of that. And in this are the houses, the settlements, the lands, the borders, the countries, and so on and so forth. And out of that, the occupants of all of these various locations. Now, we interact with this universe. This universe interacts with us. Like I said before in the previous image, you have photons striking the eye, giving you light and color, molecules that give you sound, smell, taste, and touch. And all of this constitutes your experience and observation. Now, once you get this, there is a process that comes in between this. You take all this experience and observation and you then create your meaning and story out of it. You create your name and form, you like and dislike, your meaning, value, choice that dictates choice and action. All of that makes you want to have a possession over it, an ownership over it. You make a plan and anticipation. You create hierarchies and so on and so on and so on. So this entire edifice of the entire civilized world comes out of this meaning, and we are collectively engaging in this. So our life is literally the language of our meanings. We literally speak our life. We create the universe we actually live in. There is one form of universe that is actually just physical experience, and there is another universe that we actually live in, our lived universe. The lived universe is not necessarily the same as the experienced universe. Sometimes the lived universe is in alignment with the experienced universe. And when it is in alignment, you have freedom. You feel everything going just right because your lived experience is directly in alignment with your lived universe is in alignment with your experienced universe. But because you make meanings automatically and you don't make meanings consciously, and because we do not have the skill to actually remain in meaning, and by choice we are thrown into meaning, we then experience this freedom by accident, not by design. So this zone that is a blend of experience and meaning is where we live. And most of us, if we take our attention and say our attention is like this green circle, whenever our lived experience is in alignment with our observed experience, the physical experience, your experience is favorable and you are in what we call a flow state. When you are sitting here in this meaning all the time, then the outside world is going in one path and you are going in a different path. And sometimes by accident they are in alignment, sometimes they are not. Then most of the time you live a conflicted, anxious, and perpetually painful, miserable existence. And you constantly sit here plotting and manipulating and scheming on how you can somehow make the meanings of your life fit the observation. And it is this dissonance that is experienced for the most part as the problems of performance, the problems of learning, and so on and so forth. There are some people who sit right in the middle and use both sides equally, and these people usually are extremely successful in their life. So if you actually go into as a student, if you actually go into the courses that you have difficulty and start asking the question, what is the meaning that I have given about myself with regard to the difficulties I experience with this demand upon me? Because that's all there is. Today it will be an assignment that's a demand on you. Tomorrow it will be a term paper that has to be submitted. When you get into the workforce, it is a deadline that you have to meet or a boss's request that you have to meet, but it's always a demand that is placed upon you. And you feel either you will feel either you're up to the demand or you'll feel inadequate to the demand. And you're being up to the demand and being inadequate to the demand is entirely in the zone of the meanings you attach to yourself relative to the demand on you. And if you start asking the question, how am I actually posing the questions about the demands upon me on this, you can start seeing whether it is a meaning created demand or it's an actual observation created dissonance. Everything requires a space, and all of experience exists in a space. If you live life as if you are the meanings of your life, the meanings of life comes to you in two forms. It comes to you as meaning, it comes to you as observation. Both are real. They are not false. Your meanings are not false. The problem is just when you think that the meaning is all there is. If you go around through life thinking that all the meanings of your life are all that is life, that is where you set yourself up for trouble. But if you see that life has these two parts, meanings that allow you like a map, meanings are like a map. They are not the road that you're traveling, they are a map. But if you mistake the map for the road, you will miss the road. You need to be able to use the map, and you need to be able to use the road, and you need to be able to hold the road at its relative level of importance and the map at the relative level of its importance. Most people use the map as if it is all there is. Once you realize that you are a space of experience within which the maps of your life pop up, the meanings of your life pop up, then you can immediately sit in this large yellow dot and you can bounce at ease from meaning to observation without any trouble. You suddenly have freedom because you have created space for yourself. Everything needs space. For example, music needs silence to exist. Silence is nothing but undisturbed space. Your words that you write on a piece of paper requires that space character between words to exist. Try reading a piece of passage where there are no space characters. Speech needs a pause to exist. Try speaking without a pause. Nobody will understand your gibberish. Movement needs room to exist. Leadership and initiative needs freedom, which is another form of space. Everything moves in space. The entire universe exists in space. You exist in space. Once you understand that, you become a master of your life because you see every event in your life as an object that pops up in the space that you are. So now, Ariana, come back on screen. I will ask you, if you consider yourself as the space that does math, in which the manipulation of numbers is just an operation that occurs in the space of doing math, does it matter how fast or how slow you do it? Initially, you'll do it slow. Eventually, you'll do it fast. So, the key, therefore, is each one of you can come up and ask the question. Alicia, what is one area in your academics that you find most difficult for yourself?
Probably just like retaining information. Like it's like I have to like really like understand it and learn it for like to stay in my brain. Like I don't like catch on that easily.
Okay. So what is it uniform for all forms of information?
Mm,
Are there
kind of.
some
Yeah.
kinds of information that are easier and others are difficult?
Yeah, I think it's just like based on like the subject that I like. If I like it, I'll probably like learn it faster.
Okay, give me an example of a subject that you find easy because you
Like
like.
psychology.
Okay, so psychology, you like it. What is another subject that you find difficult because you don't like it?
Probably like history or math.
Okay, let's take history and let's take psychology. All right.
Okay.
Now I'm going to work on both. Did you not like history and then you found it difficult, or did you find it difficult and because you found it difficult, you didn't like it?
I think I found it difficult and then I started not to like it.
Okay. And you found psychology easy because you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. When you read psychology, what is the meaning that you make out of a topic inside? Give me an example of a topic in psychology that you really like.
Um, Probably like um let me think. Probably like sleep. We learned like a subject on that, on like the beta waves, like alpha waves and stuff like that.
On sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you, when you hear the word sleep, what is the image that pops up in your head?
Just someone sleeping or it's like nighttime.
Okay. Is that image pleasing to you?
Yeah.
Okay. When, give me an example in history that you don't like. Some story, some historical example that you
Probably like anything like with like wars or something.
okay. So let's talk about sleep and war. What is the common denominator of sleep?
The common denominator.
What is the dominant emotion that is associated with sleep?
Like resting.
Okay, what is the dominant emotion that is associated with resting?
Like calmness.
Calmness, peace, silence,
Yeah.
harmony, no conflict.
Mm-hmm.
What is the dominant emotion associated with war?
Like angerness and like very like feisty and yeah.
Conflict.
Oh yeah.
Conflict is the essence of war, right?
Uh-huh.
So what you are doing is you don't have a problem with history. You have a problem with conflict.
Wait, yeah.
You have a problem with conflict, and therefore you'll have a problem with anything that reminds you of conflict.
That makes so much more sense. Yeah.
So now, if you understand that you are a person who has made the meaning that conflict is bad and
Mm-hmm.
should be avoided, and if you have made a meaning that peace and harmony is good and should be embraced, what are the subjects that you will naturally find yourself attracted to?
Like the stuff that's not very that has to do with conflict, like stuff that's very
That,
like
that
calm.
anything that will allow you to either be in a peaceful state or help people create a peaceful
Peaceful
state,
state.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, so you would like to study about yoga, you'll study about psychology, you'll do all of that, and you
Mm-hmm.
will avoid. Now, let's go further deep. Now, I'm going to take a plunge into the deep end
Okay.
with you. All right, you ready
Mm-hmm.
for this?
Yeah.
All right. What part of your life made you hate conflict?
Um,
You don't have to speak out loud. Think and recognize it for yourself.
yeah, I recognize it.
Okay. Now, I know this part about you, so I'm not going to reveal it, but I want you to know. All right. You recognized it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, let's go further into this. If you are the space within which your life pops up, what kind of space allows you to hold conflict and still create peace?
Um, Probably like the middle between like observation and like meaning. Cause like I meaning is like I don't like I know why I don't like the conflict. Then if I'm trying to like be like freedom, I have to like experience it like moving forward.
But you see something, if the more you try to run away from conflict, the more conflict will pursue you.
Oh, yeah.
It is only when you're able to stand and let yourself be unaffected by conflict. And for that, you need to really create that space where you can hold conflict
Okay.
and not be held by it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I understand it. Yeah.
So this is not about history at all. Do you see now how the meanings of your life show up as the opportunities that are available to you?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there's anything bad with hating history.
Mm-hmm.
You can go around hating history. That's not a problem. But the thing is, there are so many things in life that may have an element of conflict, and you will prevent yourself from learning it because your life is all about getting away from conflict.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do when you have a boss that you have to deal with and actually argue your point?
Oh, I'd probably like listen or like run away or something.
Yeah. Or you'll people please.
Mm-hmm.
You'll say yes too quickly and no, and you will never stand up for yourself. So these are important stuff. See, this is why I'm telling you these lectures are not about learning how to learn or learning things. It is about learning the mechanisms of learning. Now, going back into, so it is the meaning you give to your learning activity that gives you the ability to retain it.
Yeah.
So now with that, do you think you can approach any learning activity without conflict and therefore not have to fight to remember it?
Moving forward, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can. You just crack that part for yourself.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
So that essential. So the things I need all of you to ask yourself is, what are the meanings and labels that you operate with? Now, there's nothing good or bad about meanings and labels. They are necessary. I have a meaning and a label that there's a door out there in the end of this room. If I did not have that meaning and label, I wouldn't be able to find my way out of the room. So I need a map for that. So our meanings and labels are necessary to navigate life, but only when we are consciously holding them. When they are unconsciously held, they determine how life operates for us. So ask yourself going forward, what are the meanings that operate for you? All right? That brings us to the end of today's lecture. And you'll have this put up on replay. Like I said, our lectures are going to be tight around 30 minutes or so. And I'm now open for questions. So listen to the replay later on.
I will.
Because Alicia and I worked on something important.
Okay, I'll listen to it. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. If there are none, we'll call it a day. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you again in about a month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.